Ladies and gentlemen, I am Paul, and today we've got the new Nerf Arrival XV1000 Edge Jupiter in the house. It was no easy task to track down this particular blaster. It is a Walmart exclusive, at least for the time being. But finally, after 2 weeks of internet orders and delays and trying to deal with Walmart's online delivery service, we've got it, and we have tested it, and now I'm going to review it for your viewing pleasure and for the sake of making more informed purchasing decisions, I suppose. So here we go, XV1000 Edge Jupiter. So this is the flagship product in a new series of the Nerf Arrival series. The whole gimmick with this particular series of blasters, the Edge series, is that these are target shooting oriented blasters. They are meant to not necessarily be used in Nerf wars or for tag, as is sometimes referred to, but instead to shoot targets. Now, inevitably, I'm pretty certain more people will be buying these with the intent of shooting them at each other than shooting them at the target included with the blaster, but that is technically why these exist. So, jumping right into it, I guess bottom line up front, this costs $50. Is it worth $50? Well, that depends. There are certainly some other Nerf products out there at the same price point or even cheaper that, depending on what you're really wanting to do with a Nerf gun, if you could only have one, so to speak, probably be better off going with those. But the Edge Jupiter here does actually have quite a few cool things going for it that I'm going to get into that have made me really actually get to like this blaster quite a bit just in the short time that I've been using it. So this is a bolt action blaster. Basically, it's not electric or anything else. It's not something you pump up. It's got a bolt right here that serves as the charging handle. All you're going to do is reciprocate this back and forth in order to actually prime the weapon and then fire one shot at a time. It does actually have a safety, or like a trigger hold or something is what they technically refer to it as. They don't actually call it a safety, but it's what it is. It's a safety. It has a 10 round capacity and an internal magazine. It does not have detachable magazines, so if you're blowing tons of ammunition, if you're just the kind of person who gets into a Nerf battle and wants to just blow rounds down range, maybe not the best option for you, but it's not as terrible as you might think versus a magazine-fed blaster. All you do to reload, go ahead, you lock the bolt to the rear, and it opens up this little port on top of the blaster, and you go ahead and you push these rounds down into it, just like so, and you can actually see the rounds filling in the internal magazine as you do that. So, is it like the fastest reloading system in the world? No, of course not. But if you're using this like a sort of marksmanship role and not a I'm going to go shoot tons of rounds really quickly role, it can still work in my opinion, because you can have your little pouch full of Nerf Rival balls, and as you shoot the blaster and use it and expend ammunition, you can actually go ahead and, instead of expending your whole magazine and then reloading, you can fire a couple rounds and kind of duck into cover, let your teammates with higher capacity blasters or magazine fed blasters kind of covering for you, and go ahead and just sort of top off every few rounds, or whenever you get into a situation where there's less action happening and you can actually afford to take a little bit of time to top off rather than expending your whole magazine and then having to reload the whole magazine. So is it as good as having detachable magazines? No, but it's not as bad as you might think. It has a monopod on the back, which is actually pretty cool because it is spring-loaded, so you can go ahead and press this tab in on the rear here, and the monopod snaps in. And then, of course, the other thing that the blaster comes with is it does have this detachable bipod that attaches using a quick-release mount, which is pretty cool. If I was actually going to be using this blaster in 98% of circumstances, I would not have this bipod attached to the front here, But that being said, it's actually a pretty cool bipod. So it is telescopic, so you can extend the legs a little bit if you want. Press the button to push them back in. And it's not like it's amazingly solid. There's a bit of wobble in there for sure, but it's a pretty secure attachment with this Nerf rival rail. So all things considered, I don't think you'd have to worry about this bipod coming off even in a Nerf war type scenario if you were running around doing stuff with it. The fact that it has like a QD or a quick disconnect attachment point is actually like super cool, even cooler that it actually works like pretty well. So I'm giving it some positive points for that. That's pretty sweet. It's got I don't want to call it an iron sight, it's a plastic sight. The plastic sights are actually, polycarbonate sights. That sounds very official. The polycarbonate sights are actually pretty nice on this blaster. I mentioned that because it's, supposed to be accurate. That's the whole point of this series of blasters. So, like, you want to have some sights on it that are decent. That being said, their sights aren't amazing. It's solid as far as Nerf guns go, but you have quite a bit of play between the rear posts and the front posts. If you were to shoulder this blaster and look down the sights, you get a lot of variance. You just kind of have to eyeball it and center it in there. And then, of course, at the end of the day, it's still a Nerf blaster, so you're not getting super high levels of precision out of each shot that you take. Just reality of the situation. Alright, so another feature that I have to say I like about this blaster is the fact that you do not have to lock the bolt down in order to fire. What do I mean by that? Okay, basically you can use it like a straight pull bolt gun. So, right now we've locked the bolt up, or we've pulled it up, so that way we can just, pull it back, because obviously you can't pull it back when it's down in this little locking nub here. All I have to do to shoot is push it forward. I don't actually have to lock the bolt down like that. I can leave it up like so, and then just shoot. And so it just kind of allows you slightly more speed in your reload. So you can just go ahead and the fit and finish of the blaster is very nice. It's a very solid feeling blaster in the hands. The trigger is very cool. It's modeled after a competition trigger. It's kind of a straight pull trigger. All Nerf triggers are straight pull, but this one actually looks like it is. We've got, of course, our priming indicator on the back here, like pretty much all Nerf guns have. The one thing I want to talk about beyond everything else I just mentioned, which is pretty cool, is this cheek pad. So this is honestly like my favorite part of the blaster. That might sound a little weird, but what I love about this cheek rest is that it is not made of the same material as any other Nerf gun is, or the rest of the blaster for that matter. This is a rubberized material. This is much, not softer necessarily. It's softer in a way, but it's still very firm. You're not going to like leave imprints in this or something like that. But it's a lot more comfortable of a material to get a cheek weld on, which is like awesome. Like this was honestly the reason why I love this so much that they've done this, is that this was something that they didn't have to do. If they had come out with this blaster and this piece here was just a regular same polycarbonate material as the rest of the blaster, like everyone would have just been fine with it. Like that's just what we've kind of come to expect at this point. It's very rare that you see something like this, but we have it on this blaster and I love it. I really appreciate it. That's super great to see. They didn't have to do it, but it's here and I love it. So good job, Nerf, for that. Super appreciate that. So, moving on to the accuracy review of this product. So, normally, I feel like doing accuracy reviews of Nerf blasters is a little strange. There's very few Nerf blasters that justify doing an accuracy review, but again, since this is specifically being marketed as a target-oriented blaster, I feel like doing an accuracy review is appropriate, considering if you're actually doing serious target shooting with this blaster, you'd want it to be consistent and fairly accurate. So, gone up and set up a testing regimen for you guys to see. We fired 50 shots with this blaster at a target, and we recorded in slow motion so we could actually get groupings from a Nerf blaster. That's something you normally can't really get with a Nerf blaster, but we've gone ahead and basically digitally put the points of impact on the target, so that way we can actually see what the group sizes are for this blaster, and you can get some idea of the sort of accuracy that you'd expect to find from this blaster using standard rifle rounds.
Alright, well, we set up here at a range of about 25 feet, and we're going to see how good of a grouping we can get, averaging 50 brand new Nerf rifle rounds. I'm going to give myself 3 shots to kind of get ranged in on target here, and then we'll start like officially counting shots after the first 3. So here we go. A little low. Let's see if we'll drop the monopod a touch and aim fuzz high and figure out the best sweet spot here. A little low again. And also low. Alright, so we're gonna be aiming a bit high, even back here at 25 feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and load up the first 10.
So group 1, start out fairly strong actually, so we'll end up getting 9 shots in total on the target. I will count the half on, half off as hits because, you know, in a Nerf war, presumably you'd count that as a hit. So not too bad to be started out here, a little low. Group 2, things are still going to be okay. We actually get a tighter group towards the center of the target and we creep up a little, but we've now lost 2 shots off the edge of the target. Group 3 is a little weird. We get kind of doubled up in certain places, but okay accuracy, I guess. Group 4, we get 1 pretty solid group, but then a lot of flyers. We get 1, 2, 3 flyers and 1 right at the bottom. And then finally group 5, I feel like is kind of the best group. We get an actual bullseye and only 1 flyer, so pretty good accuracy.
All right, we are back from the range. So accuracy-wise, 25 feet is, you know, a fairly decent distance for a Nerf blaster. It's not insane, but it's definitely better than like something you'd expect from like something shooting Nerf Elite darts, we'll say. 82% is what it actually worked out to in terms of accuracy versus that torso-sized target that we were shooting at. That was a 12-inch wide by 18-inch tall target. Now, something to consider if you're using it in a Nerf war is that obviously people have arms, so that would make them wider, but also they have the ability to move. So we'll just call it even with the 12 by 18 target that we were using as like a rough approximation for shooting at torso-sized target at 25 feet, the approximate accuracy you get. So 82% accuracy, that's a little better than 4 out of 5 shots we're hitting. It's alright, it's pretty solid. For a dedicated accuracy blaster, so to speak, it's, you know, I'd like to maybe see closer to 90%, but it was a solid showing for a Nerf blaster, so I'm going to give it, you know, a B, we'll say. So the target that it comes with is pretty cool. This is the target that I guess they expect you to be using since this is the new target series of blasters. Makes me laugh a little. It's super easy to put together, first of all. I'm not even going to bother like showing on camera how to put it together because if you can't figure it out on your own, you probably shouldn't even own a toy gun. So basically, this target, when you hit it up here, makes that metal ping noise, which is really fun. It's a lot easier to hear for one, and it kind of reminds you of shooting actual steel targets, which is kind of fun as well. I love how simple the system is, too, by the way. There's literally just like a metal washer that's just kind of like bolted onto the bottom of the sort of swinging portion of the target. That's how they're making that sound, is it's just impacting a metal plate with this metal washer that literally, it just looks like they ran out to like a hardware store and bought like their entire stock of, you know, stainless steel metal washers or something, and that's how they came up with this thing. I kind of love how that worked out like that, that it's kind of less professional looking in a way. It's still a really great target, to be very clear. And I'm sure it almost kind of works better than if they had tried to rig up some other solution. So I like this target. And, you know, the blaster probably would have been worth it without coming with the target. So the fact that it came with one is kind of a nice bonus. And of course, you can shoot this with your other Nerf guns as well. So that's about it for our Rival Edge Jupiter here. Fantastic build quality, pretty decent capacity, does what it needs to do, pretty good accuracy as far as Nerf blasters are concerned. So would I recommend this product? I mean, yes I would. It's a really fun blaster to just shoot around with. It's got some fun little tactical features on it. That's about all there is to say about it. In terms of value, you know, if you're looking for some sort of Nerf war blaster, you might want to look at something more magazine fed or with a higher capacity. But if you're maybe thinking about kind of sticking a little bit closer to the rear and taking longer shots that you're trying to take more time to line up or something like that, could be a really fun blaster to use for that, for sure. And then just to play with, it's a pretty fun little blaster. So I'm going to go ahead and give this my personal endorsement, not that that means anything, and wrap up the review there. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, guys. It's the first time I've made any sort of Nerf video, so there's that. Maybe there will be more in the future, maybe there won't be. We'll see how it goes. So hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day.